Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. And this is one that I've been kind of dubiously looking forward to. And it's going to make sense why I explain in a second. But it is Bill and Ted Are Doomed by Evan Dorkin. Now, it probably doesn't come up very often in casual conversations with me, but I'm a massive fan of Bill and Ted. I was of like the perfect age of them coming out, like the first one being tail end of the 80s, second one being early 90s. Loved them both from like a high school kind of level growing up with that, and just amazing movies. And I can go back and rewatch them and I'll never get bored of them. Yes, there's some problematic stuff like when you go back and look through today's eyes, but for the most part, they are just adorable, fun-filled movies. Even when they die and go to hell, I still get a laugh out of it. And there's a new one coming out, which you may have heard about. And I've been really looking forward to that one. I'm kind of bummed that when they did the whole VOD release thing, it wasn't in this country. You have to go to the cinema because I'm not quite ready to go back to the cinema just yet. So I'm like, right, well, I suppose I better have to wait for it then, haven't I? But then Dark Horse with Evan Dorkin did this. And I was like, okay, cool. It's set 2000. So 10 years after, or 9 years after the last one, last movie, should I say. So the two children's characters are there, but they're taking out of a backseat on this one. In fact, this one is effectively just kind of reintroducing you to not just the band, but everyone involved, because there's a bit of an argument over who's in the band, which is Bill and Ted, the princesses, and Death. All the other people who are on stage at the end of the second movie apparently aren't in the band. They were just, there. And they make a bit of a cool joke about the fact that, wow, what happened if we had like 9 people in the band? We'd totally be a ska band, which is entertaining. Just low-key, I know, but it still made me smile. And I'd like to tell you that is just what happens throughout it. It's entertaining. It's fine. It makes me laugh. There's a lot of like really over-the-top convoluted sentence stuff, which the movies do so well, because they're doing it like 20 years ago. You can have them not look much older than they were in the movies. And I know people kind of joke about the whole Keanu Reeves ageless thing going on there, but let's face it, he is looking his age now, and that's absolutely fine. But when you compare it to what it looked like in the Bill and Ted movies, it's a marked difference. But the comic book area, back to comic book. Sorry, I could talk about the movies and stuff for ages. Art style, let's go with that one. Straight off the bat, I've shown you the cover, right? That's Evan Dorkin artwork on the cover, and I absolutely love it. The artist they've got in for doing this, Roger Landridge, he's got a similar style. Like you can definitely see some DNA kind of cross over there, but it's far simpler. I've picked this page because you got Death on it, and I love Death. So you can definitely see there's something similar going on there. But it's a much more reduced, simplistic kind of thing, apart from when you get to like the shading and the colours, where you get a little bit more of it. And it's a bit disappointing, because it's not bad artwork, not by any stretch of the imagination, but when you've got Evan Dorkin on the cover and you open it up and it's Evan Dorkin light, it does kind of take you out of it a little bit, and that's a shame. And I've got to say, the writing and the jokes are kind of the same. My expectations, I think, is the problem here. It's very easy to say that because I'm a fan of like the source material, I'm going to love the spin-offs and stuff like that. And quite often I do. Like I reviewed the Vampire comic book issue 2. I've got reading at the moment. And I'm a big fan of the original role-playing game. And the comic book was already like pre-sold because I liked it. And it turns out I thoroughly enjoyed the comic book as well. But I think this one is, the problem is my expectations are a bit too high. And they shouldn't be. I've read Bill and Ted comic books in the past, and they're all kind of the same. The comic books seem to go for just like the one joke. Well, I would say one joke. Several jokes, but all in the same theme, which is basically, let's try and make the movie again. Let's have them be kind of dumb and not really know what's going on and struggling to get stuff going on. And people are trying to help them, but it's going to involve some kind of time travel thing at some point. And then they'll figure something out and it'll be amazing at the end of it. Effectively, it's kind of like doing Bad Guy of the Week comic books based on a movie instead of a TV show. And all the jokes come from the same kind of stuff that happens in the movies. And I'd like to see them do something different. Now, don't get me wrong. When the movie comes out and that ends up being more of the same, I'm probably going to love it because that's what I'm expecting from it. But for a comic book where you basically change the medium and you can do slightly different things if you want to, why not do slightly different things? Why not take a shot? Do something a bit more exciting, a bit more thrilling, something unexpected. They do have like a little twist at the end of this, which is kind of cool, and it's at least interesting enough to make me think, okay, cool, it's only 4 issues, it might be worth carrying on reading. But what it hasn't done is scratch that itch that I was really, really wanting to enjoy for some excellent Bill and Ted stuff, because I can't watch the movie just yet. which is weird because effectively what it is just trying to be the movie again. I know, I'm a complicated man. Anyway, that's it from me today. I'll be back tomorrow, but tomorrow I'm going to do another one which is spinning off from something I love, the Cyberpunk comic book. So let's see if that works out better than this does. That's it from me. Bye!